All right. Thanks everybody for joining us. We're here once again with Under Dark Clouds, broadcasting live. So let's go around and see how everybody's doing. Max, how are you doing today?
You're muted.
You're
I know.
muted.
I'm trying not to do the snap thing. I'm doing pretty good. It's rainy, but we're not getting the freezing rain Ontario is, so let's get that.
All right, excellent. And who are you playing today for us, Max?
I think I'll play Farnak.
Excellent.
Half
Farnak.
orc with a chip on his shoulder.
The old man, the Clint Eastwood of the group.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. Matt, what about you?
Hi, I'm Matt. I'm going to be playing Zara's Half-Finger, or Half-Elven Rogue.
Great. And how are you doing today? How are you feeling about today's game?
I'm doing great. It's the second full week of my retirement, so I'm enjoying myself.
Perfect way to spend it. All right.
Yeah.
Jeff, what about you?
I'm doing good. I'm Jeff. I'm playing Wilby Hilltopple, the currently possessed druid of the group.
Channeling his inner hound.
Yes.
All right. Rachel, how are you doing today?
Better than I was 2 weeks ago with the dizzy spells and the fainting. 2 plus liters of water a day.
That is always good.
And I am Oyawe, the Dragonborn cleric, bookworm, whatever she is. I don't even know anymore.
Our excellent Forge Domain cleric. All right, and Kyle, last but not least.
I am Kyle. I play Dachi, the half-orc gunslinger.
And newly updated to Matt Mercer's version 1.3 gunslinger.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be fun. I get some new fancy stuff now.
Locked and loaded and ready to roll.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so many puns.
All right. Well, when last we left off, you had, had some fun in the inn, the Seven Steeds carriage house, and dealing with the city guard and various other things. And when resting, the shadow banished mage that was upstairs alerted to a powerful magical artifact nearby, perhaps by people talking about it, mentioning it to him directly, decided to check it out. And in the middle of your rest, you found him seated on top of it, upon which time Wilby transformed, possessed into the Hound of Night, and all hell broke loose. And when we left off, the shadow seemed to have disappeared into the heart, the rolling orb magical artifact. And as far as you know, all of the people under his influence in the inn seem to come around and leave it. So that's where we're picking up. So Oyawe had run into the inn to check on the people there. And the guards, of course, have heard the gunshots and mayhem unleashed and are quite curious, Oyawe, about what exactly is going on and what happened as they sort of approach as you're in the midst of all of these people that are waking up and sitting down. They've got, hands on their hilts, kind of swords half drawn, looking around nervously.
So is the guard captain from before in there?
He is still there, yes. He's kind of been
Okay.
keeping an eye on the scene.
Okay, because him and I want to say it was one of the clerics were the only people to actually go up and see
Yes,
so
that is correct.
I'm gonna turn more directly to him and say that the guy that was upstairs, the Shadow Mage, kind of appeared at our wagon, and all hell broke loose. He's kind of disappeared for right now, but he was causing some ruckus, and we took care of him. He's gone. We're not sure where he's gonna pop up.
Oh, well. We should check on this sister. And he beckons the cleric with him. And they sort of pound up the stairs to go check on things. And after pretty much just a... Yep. No, go ahead. You were going to say something.
Oh, I asked if I could go with them.
Oh,
upstairs.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you go up in behind them, and it's pretty obvious as soon as you go up that the temperature is rising.
Okay,
you
so
can
it's not as
see
cold
sort-
anymore.
Yeah, and you can see moisture kind of on the walls and floor where some of the frost that was there has melted away. They approach the double doors at the end, kind of with some trepidation. Puts his hand out tentatively on the door and then pushes it open and looks inside. And it's dark, but he sort of fumbles around for a minute and grabs a lantern and shines it around. Seems you're right.
Yeah, he just kind of popped up in front of our group and well, attacked us, honestly.
Well,
But yeah, we don't really know exactly what happened to him. He just kind of disappeared.
as far as I'm concerned, as long as he's gone, that's all that matters. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to write this up, but for now, I think I will just leave it at this. I suggest you get some rest. We'll do the same and figure out what happened here later. But the
I'm
people
going
downstairs...
to need it if I'm going to assist you with healing everyone else in the morning as well.
Yes, of course. Sister will see to them as well. But the injuries seem to have been taken care of. It was merely that they were still unconscious.
Yes, I do have the sort of curative spells that can assist with that. I just need to rest before they're of availability.
Well,
That's
like
all.
I said, everyone seems to be awake now. And
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't hear that part. Sorry.
well, at the end of the last game when you went in, everyone was like starting to sit up and things like that.
Oh, I don't remember anything from 2 weeks ago. Okay. All right. Thank you for reiterating that. I was confused.
Yeah. So we'll cut back to the carriage house.
So I am not happy at all with my query disappearing.
Yeah.
And I think it looked like he was absorbed into this 10-foot sphere.
Yeah, he seemed to enter it or be absorbed somehow.
Can I dimension door into the middle of it?
Oh, that is an interesting thing indeed. You certainly can try.
I will do so.
Okay. So you cast the Dimension Door spell as the Hound, and you can feel your sensations just kind of rush forward as it kind of like winks out of existence and then pops back inside the sphere. I need you to go ahead and give me a charisma saving throw.
As a Hound, right?
Yes, as the Hound.
So that's 16.
Okay. So you feel this magical pressure pushing down and tearing at the fabric of your existence. It feels almost like the Hound portion is being pulled away from Wilby. But the Hound clings on sort of tenaciously, and your senses stretch a little bit and then snap back into focus. And you find yourself surrounded by light. As far as you can see in either direction as you look around is just blank whiteness.
How does the whiteness make the Hound feel? Is it nervous?
Make an insight check with advantage, because it's sort of like knowing yourself, but
right.
It's still a bit of an alien entity.
That would be a 9.
Okay. So there's some confusion there. he feels almost lost and not entirely sure where he is.
Can I sense the quarry, the target?
You do. It's faint, but it's there.
In a particular direction, or just there?
Make a perception check.
That's a 18.
Okay. It's really hard to tell what direction is what. Everything seems kind of uniform.
Mm-hmm.
But as you focus, you can sense it in a particular direction. You don't know what direction it is.
Right, but it's
But
some
you can
definite
feel
source.
like you can home in on it.
I'm running that way.
Okay. So you start running, and it's really hard to tell everything, it almost seems like you're standing still.
Right.
But you can see a faint sensation of change and movement around you. And as you focus, you can tell that it's not totally uniform. Things have kind of different densities, almost like fog or cloud drifting by on occasion.
Okay.
And then in the distance, you can see a dark speck, and it's getting closer.
Okay, I'm going to continue going that way.
Okay. So you continue running faster and faster, and you seem to be gaining on it. And as you get closer, you can see sort of a thread connecting that shadow, a dark kind of pulsing thread. And then you get closer, and it starts resolving itself into a humanoid figure.
And still the thread connecting it to something?
Yep, and the thread kind of just goes and disappears into the ether.
Hey, Dan, how long has it passed for us outside the orb?
No time at all.
Okay. So the halfling's gone.
You've seen him wink out, but it's literally been a fraction of a second.
Okay.
Can I try biting onto that thread?
Absolutely. Go ahead and give me an attack roll.
Let's see. As a hand, that's it. That's a nat 1.
So you jump forward to snap onto the thread and miss and get the thread wrapped around you. You find yourself tangled into it. Give me a Constitution saving throw.
14.
Okay. You take 4 points of necrotic damage. You can feel this thread just pulsing around you.
Okay. Can I do my frost breath towards the humanoid shape?
You can.
I will do that. And let's just do the average damage on it.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
Okay, so you open your mouth and this cold blasts out, catching the thread. You can see it crystallizing and cracking, and the humanoid shadow kind of screams and cries out and stops.
Okay. Can I lunge at him then?
You can.
Yep. I'll do that. Try biting him. That is a 22.
Okay, so you jump forward and your jaws clamp closed on the shadowy figure. Go ahead and roll damage.
3D. 19.
Okay, So you bite into him, shaking it viciously back and forth. The shadow is shredding and ripping apart. No, no! I see it. It's so close. It's right there. And he kind of points out a finger, and you can see a swirling patch of color.
Want by them again.
Okay. He's sort of trying to untangle himself from the grasp and reaching towards it.
It's a nat 20.
Okay, go ahead and
Wow.
roll damage.
Uh, 23.
Okay. So you clamp down once more and shake your head, and there's a final wailing no as you just shred it apart, and all of this shadow stuff sort of dissipates into the ether. Give me a perception check.
Nope. Not with a D12. That would be a 6.
Okay. All right.
And if I'm still there, I'll run towards the color.
Okay.
See what he was heading towards.
All right. So you run towards this swirling bit of color, and it's sort of pulsing and shifting back and forth between blue and sort of a silvery white and a brownish color and orange.
Is it just like one area that's changing
Yep.
color like that?
Yeah, it's just a patch of color, and it's just slowly swirling between them, almost like a lava lamp or something.
Right.
Lick it.
That's what I
And
was
again,
thinking about.
And again, back in the carriage house, it's only been about a fraction of a second.
I think I would go and poke my nose into it when it's kind of the blue-white color.
Okay. Give me a Arcana check.
That would be a 16.
Okay. So as you stick your nose into it, I'm guessing to sort of sense it,
Yeah.
a little bit. You can feel this pulling sensation as if it's trying to suck you through, and you get the sense that it's some kind of gate.
Interesting. If I look around, do I see anything else?
So, yeah, when you look back around, you're looking. Give me a perception check.
19.
Okay. Back the way you came, you can see another patch of color, but it's just a sort of silvery gold color.
How much control would Wilby have at this point over the hand?
I'm considering that Wilby's still sort of mostly in control.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would he have any idea about where this place might be?
Make an Arcana check.
That is a 17.
This seems a lot like the Astral Sea. And so you know that the Astral Sea is sort of like a transit between other realms of existence.
Right.
And you think these color patches are portals.
I'm going to head back where I came from.
Okay, to the gold, silver.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And
And step into it.
okay. And when you do, you feel this rushing, sort of warm sensation, and everybody else sees Wilby, not the Hound, pop out of the sphere.
Well, that was most interesting. It was.
Where's
You
it been?
You
What
guys,
happened to you?
you guys literally saw the Hound just kind of wink out of existence, and maybe half a second to a second later, Wilby sort of get ejected head first out of the sphere.
Is that a usual druid thing?
No, that was I believe I was going on a trip. I was.
That was like less than a second. Where were you going in a second?
Oh, it was much longer than that. I was.
I'm going to kind of grab him and dust him off a little bit. Are you okay?
We don't have to worry about you turning into that thing and blowing ice at us, do we?
Oh no, I would not do that.
Good.
And I believe our shadow friend is dissolved in the astral sea now.
I'm going to cast Divine Sense and see if I can pick anything up on Wilby or in the room.
Okay. You reach out and you don't sense any undead, fiends, fae.
Well, the shadow's gone, but I guess we'll just have to take your word for it.
It was a most interesting time. I'm still a bit confused, but I think things are okay.
Walk over, gonna give the big thing, metal stone thing, a clunk. Have the magical runes come back on it? You said it faded out.
Oh yeah, those faded out quite a while ago.
Okay.
About this time is when Oyawe walks back into the room.
I believe this is a doorway of sorts.
Beyond me. Still trying to figure out if I'm awake.
And I'm now looking around at all the devastation and disaster that was made here. Oh, these poor people, we should help them.
Oh no. And I run over and...
You do realize that you caused most of this, don't you?
Oh, yes.
Is there still a chemical fire?
Oh yeah, that's probably still burning in your wagon. Yep.
Uh-oh.
Whoops.
I grab my goat blanket, the blanket on my goat, and just start trying to put out the alchemical fire and hope it doesn't just catch the blanket and ignite everything.
Yeah.
I don't think baking soda exists in this world.
Well, it's something similar.
You do have a dragon with ice breath.
Oi! Help!
Yeah, because certainly as you put your goat blanket onto it, it's like throwing it on napalm, so it splatters and
Just kind of splatters
Karnak
everywhere.
does not know this, and he now learns.
yep, and it lights up.
I'm literally going to walk in there, grab Farnak by the back of whatever he's wearing, and try and drag him back so I can ice it.
All right.
And I'm going to slip out of the way after all this, and if Wilby's not moving, I'm going to drag him along with me. So,
Okay.
Come on. We need to get out of here.
Yes, where are we going?
I think we're about to watch the wagon burn.
Oh,
No.
no. That is
Quick,
not
bring the marshmallows.
By the time Oyawe has a chance to step forward and breathe the ice on it, that definitely puts out the flame.
Okay, good.
What condition is the rest of the wagon in?
It's charred, but it's only really been a few seconds, right? So
Okay.
Has the orb has not moved, has it? Really?
no, it's come to rest where it stopped, sort of near the doors.
Okay. We're still going to have to get it back on the wagon.
Good.
So if Zyrus lets me free, I'll go up and start kind of repairing the wagon with mending.
And while they're doing that, I'm going to go back to the inn and I'm going to check out that one guy where I found the obsidian key on
Okay.
and see if I can figure out where his room was,
All right.
if he had one.
So you're inspecting his corpse again?
Yeah, I'm just going to kind of inspect and see if I can figure out if he was here and kind of, I don't know, discreetly ask if anybody knew him.
Okay. Give me two things. Give me a regular investigation check for looking over his remains.
7.
Okay. And then give me a charisma check in terms of talking with people.
Mm-hmm.
And you can use sort of either persuasion or investigation with that.
I'm going to use persuasion.
Okay.
At 11.
Okay. So when you check out the body, you don't find anything in particular, although there's a small slip of paper that just says Water Street.
Okay.
It looks like it was torn, so if there was any sort of number or reference of a building or anything like that, it's not there.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, just you had sort of already cleared out everything he already had, but previously you were kind of just looking for valuables as opposed to other things. Asking around, everyone's pretty confused because everyone's sort of been in a strange state for the last couple of days, so they're still kind of coming around. They're not entirely sure what room was his or anything like that.
Okay. All right. I've also got one iron key also that looks like it probably belongs to someone here at the inn. And I believe I took it off of one of the serving girls that got killed. I'm going to kind of discreetly go around and see if I can figure out which lock it went into.
Okay.
Just kind of fiddle around.
Give me a investigation check.
12.
All right. So you go around, access all of the obvious doors that you think. Most of them don't appear to have any locks when you're checking them. Most of the standard doors don't have locks. And in your quick, sort of discreet check, you don't find what it unlocked. And as you're going around, Ava kind of comes back in and says, "You were asking about one of the patrons."
Yes, ma'am, I was.
I was outside.
I point to the guy right there. I was asking about him. He seems vaguely familiar. I was just wondering, do you know who he is?
He gave his name as Richter, I believe. We had him in one of the rooms upstairs. I think just at the very top on the left, if I remember correctly. You'll have to forgive me. It's been a little bit of a time.
Okay. All right. I appreciate it. Well, I was just wondering because I thought I'd ran into him before, but I wasn't 100% sure. And his name sounds vaguely familiar. I'm going to go back and talk to one of the other guys in the party. And I'm going to kind of duck out and try to slide back in so I can go back upstairs without her seeing me.
Okay. Give me a stealth check.
I like stealth checks. 19.
All right. So you managed to kind of survey the room, wait for what appears to be an opportune moment, and slip up the stairs without being observed.
All right. I'm just gonna kind of. She said top left.
Yep.
She wasn't very. All right. How many rooms are upstairs?
There's a few. There's about 8 rooms altogether.
Okay.
And when you come up the stairs, there's sort of right on your left, is where they start. There's pretty much just a hallway with rooms off
like
of it.
4 rooms on each side.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna start at the far one. I'm gonna I'll pick the lock and kind of check it. And see if I can see if anything that might go with him.
Okay. It's not actually locked.
Oh,
pretty much
makes it even easier.
Yeah, when you go through, basically the rooms themselves don't really appear to have locks on them.
Okay. I'm just going to kind of casually open them up and just look around and see if I see anything that would go with this Richter guy, something that might kind of trigger me thinking this may be his room before I start just randomly tossing rooms.
Okay, give me a perception check.
12.
So you spend a few minutes looking around, and you notice, sort of poking through, that after a little bit, you find some clothing, and it looks like it was a woman in this room.
Okay. All right. I'm going to kind of close out of that room and go to the next room down.
Okay.
I'm going to check the hallway when I came out and make sure there's nobody standing in the hallway or anything.
Doesn't appear to be.
Okay. All right. I'm going to do the same thing at that next room.
Okay.
5.
So you spend a good 10 minutes poking around, and it's pretty bare. You see, doesn't appear like, you're not sure if anyone had even checked into this room.
Okay.
No real personal belongings.
All right. I'm going to kind of glance out, make sure so nobody's in the hallway, and go do the next room.
You don't see anybody, but the next room down is the one where the door had been opened and there's the dead guy inside.
I'll check that room out anyway.
Okay.
Just to see.
Go ahead and
a 3.
all right.
Getting progressively worse.
So you're poking around, looking into stuff, and there's a behind you in the doorway, and we're going to cut back down to the coach house.
So at some point I would turn to I would and say, do we not have watery friends?
I didn't even think to check in on them because everything seems fine back at the inn. When I checked, like everyone that was unconscious is basically waking up. Unless you mean for the fire, but I would feel kind of rude asking for their assistance.
No. I would just want to be sure they were okay.
We can go check on them if you like. I don't know if Farnak or Daichi want to come with us, but as soon as we're done talking to them, if they're still there, then we need to definitely come back and rest.
Oh, yes.
I'm running on 3 hours of sleep. I'm just gonna go curl up with my goat. I have breakfast plans in the morning with the Green Company, and as fun as this all sounds, and Farnak just mumbles and wanders off.
Oh, wait, don't leave. We need to get the orb back into the wagon.
Oh, yes.
Once the wagon's fixed, we need to get the heart in.
Why did we kick it out of? I don't get why we rolled it.
On the plus side, we know every one of Zyrus's traps worked on us.
Oh, yes, they were quite effective.
Dachi got set on fire. Cyrus himself got put to sleep and poisoned. Did we miss any? Are there any more tricks on there?
I got run over by the boulder itself.
Oh, yeah,
so
so that was,
yes.
that was all three. I believe.
my leg. Dachi's just casually limping around.
I picture just like a bone sticking out.
Just a flesh wound.
Because it got flattened. Oh.
It's not a heavy boulder, don't worry.
All right, well.
Arcadia and I will take care of getting this back, at least to the opening to the wagon. You go deal with the water elementals.
Okay, well, Wilby fixed the cart, so everything should be back to the way it was before.
Okay.
Chemical fire.
Did what I could, yes.
All right, okay. Well, I guess let's go check out the elementals. Hold down the fort here, I guess.
Oh yeah, no, I'm going to sleep.
All right. Then Wilby and I will head towards the well.
I gotta sleep off this crippling leg injury.
This is the second time today I've had a hand inside my chest squeezing my heart, so yes. I'll join you in a moment.
That sounds most unpleasant.
So I'll so do I just advantage for the goat help?
I think given enough time, you can
Okay, I'll take 20.
can do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's heavy, but especially with help and like I said, time. You're not under any time pressure. You can.
Well,
you
just
can
kind of looking at Dachi like, how dare you sleep while I'm doing the heavy lifting?
No, Dachi's helping you before he
you
decides
are.
to go to sleep. Jeez, you don't
With your one leg.
Your limpid leg. You're not the strongest of the orc bloods. So.
Actually, I could give Daichi a Balm of the Summer Court. I have one left. So. Oh, 5-point ceiling.
Yeah, that pretty much gets me back.
All right, so let's go back out to the courtyard in the well. Way.
Yes.
There you go.
I'm gonna kind of walk up to the well quietly and call out an elemental. Oh no, we didn't get any names for them.
Once
We
again,
didn't ask their names.
once again, the Wayfarers Guild asked nobody their name.
Well, they did just go on. They did go on a big spiel about how names have power and that this guy
Oh, that's
has their
true.
names.
That's true.
That is true.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna kind of go. Hey, psst. Words are escaping me right now. Elementals, are you still there? Because the shadow is gone, and I don't know if you're still around.
So you say that and wait a second, and then the water bulges and sort of rising out of it, but staying kind of in the well. Head and shoulders rises out. And yes, why did you summon me?
I just wanted to let you know that I'm going to be speaking with someone very soon about dispelling the binding that you are under. And I wanted to confirm that with you and to let you know that the force that came through with you those 6 days ago is gone. So I wasn't sure if it had an effect on you as well.
While I do not know the way that you measure time, I have been bound long enough that this feels like but fractions of moments. When it is done, I shall thank you and be done. For
I just
now,
wanted to let
I
you
would
know that there was
prefer.
progress.
Thank you. For now, I would prefer not to be disturbed.
Sorry. Okay.
And it just sinks back into the water.
I'm going to turn to Wilby. They weren't really happy that they were woken up.
Do they not wish to be here?
They'd prefer to be home in their own plane, is what they said earlier, but until we can dispel the binding that they are stuck to, there's nothing that can be done. So until I found someone to help do that,
I
we're to leave them alone.
may be able to do that tomorrow, yes.
Yes, I have a meeting with the Lord Argon?
Yes.
Yes, Lord Argon at breakfast. I'm going to ask him about dispelling the spell on the well, on the stones, so they can be free.
Oh, yes, I will try it tomorrow morning, yes.
Okay. Wait, you? What?
Yes.
You can dispel?
Oh, yes.
What?
I couldn't tell you before because once you figured that out, I was a wolf.
That's true. You were part hound at that point, and
Yep.
You were kind of hell-bent on your crusade. Okay, well then if it goes south with the Lord, either way, I'd love to have your help because they might need it, so.
Yep. Yeah, I can learn dispel magic overnight, so.
I feel stupid for not asking you first. Let's just go back and go to bed.
Okay.
So Zyrus, up in your room, you turn around and Ava is standing there, her arms sort of crossed. And what are you doing?
I'm still trying to figure out exactly what happened with that entity that was up here. And so I was just up here kind of just staring, trying to get an idea of what was going on.
Make a deception check.
Crap. 13.
She nods. Okay, well, that seems reasonable. I think that given the hour, however, the rest of us, while people have been through quite some ordeal, would like to get what rest we can before the morrow.
So be it. And I'm just going to slip by her.
Okay. And she just...
I'll wait and come back and do this later, like after everybody's gone to bed.
And she just watches. All right. So back in the main carriage house.
Are we gonna just sleep on the hay or just find a bed? I don't know your plan, Dachi, but that bale of hay is looking very good right now. So that's mine. You take whatever.
You can have that bale of hay. I'm just gonna, and he passes out and just falls to the ground. It's like, this is fine.
Everyone's going to return to just two Orcbloods just snoring loudly, competing against each other as Orcbloods tend to do, even in their sleep.
So as we walk into that, we are sleeping here. Very good. I'll go join them.
Just going to get the goat to be the guard for the stone for the night. He's been just relaxing all day, so.
All right.
He'll wake me up if anything happens.
All right. So, Zyrus, if your plan is still to sneak out when everyone has gone to sleep, give me a stealth check.
All right. Stealth check. Here we go. 14.
Okay. And I'm assuming, what room are you searching?
I'm going to search the very first one up on the left-hand door.
Okay. Give me an investigation check.
Is there anybody in that room?
Isn't at the moment.
Okay. I'm going to have to do this one quick. 13.
Okay. So you poke around, trying to keep quiet, and poke around through. There is a pack sort of seated by the bed with a short sword sheathed, piled up with it as well. appears to be some leather armor taken off and set aside sort of neatly in the room. As you go through the pack, it's got a lot of the things you would expect for someone in a profession similar to yours. There's equipment for traveling and camping, for exploring. You know, there's rope, there's a crowbar, all of that sort of thing. You do find sort of tucked away a little sack that has some coins in it. Clearly, when you pull it out, there's 50 gold pieces in it.
I'm going to pocket those.
And you're poking around through, and there appears to also be a book.
I'm going to drop that into one of my pouches. And anything else?
That appears to be it. I mean, there's your standard traveling gear.
Okay. Does short sword look just normal, or does it look kind of fancy, or what?
Give me an investigation check.
I can't even really tell it's a short sword. Kind of one.
All right, yeah, you unsheath it. It seems pretty, relatively plain. You don't notice anything special about it.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Does this look like it could have been his room?
Well, it would be hard to tell, I suppose. But she did say top.
It was on the left-hand side and top left. So, all right. I'm going to make the assumption that this is his room, and I'm getting out of here before I get caught.
Okay. Give me another stealth check.
Come on, baby. 12.
Okay. So, creep downstairs, and as you're sort of exiting the room, you do notice that one of the serving girls is awake, sort of working, and notices you leaving. She doesn't say anything, but she definitely sees you come downstairs and leave. She just goes back to work, but definitely saw you.
I'm going to leave it as is. I may bribe her later. But yeah, if she's not going to say anything, I'm just going to leave it as is right now. I didn't really take anything besides the book. I'm going to go ahead and get some rest now.
Okay. All right, so everyone goes back, gets some sleep. So until morning, it's another 4 hours. We're up for quite a bit. But if you push it, you just barely get the benefits of a long rest.
Okay, good.
And I wanted to clarify, Oyawe, too, that your invitation, it wasn't specifically just for you, it was for everybody.
Oh, okay. It's not at the same time as Farnax, is it?
Farnak didn't have an invitation, it just said that there were friends.
Oh.
It said they were in town for something for negotiations, and they would appreciate if I stopped by at some point. That they would be there to help if they needed. So I wasn't invited to anything specific, but same place. So.
Okay. Well, was there a specific time? It just said breakfast, right?
Yeah.
I don't know when breakfast is in most towns.
You assume that it's you have time to get up and very quickly get ready.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'll make sure to kick everyone awake when it's time to go and get off your tush. We're going to go meet the Lord.
What? Huh?
Ugh.
Oh, it is a very lovely day to go eat.
Yes, yes, it is.
Damn.
Remind me not to sleep in my armor again.
Barnack, you're nasty.
Yeah. I should probably. At least the armor's clean.
You're so lucky I don't freeze dry you right now. All right.
Very nice. I'm going to reach into the handy spice pouch and pull out some cinnamon and just kind of rub it around out a little bit.
I'll bathe later. Last night was not a typical evening.
No. And we're going to go have breakfast with the Lord. So.
I'll smell like cinnamon.
Great. Let's go.
I mean, you got some allspice.
Reaches in, pulls out a little bit of allspice, hands it over to Dashi.
Appreciate it.
But what about the Old Spice?
Hashtag not sponsored.
Not yet.
All right. So you're able to lead them back to the house. So now as you approach it in the daylight versus in the middle of the late evening, I guess.
Yeah, sorry.
It's a large 3-story stone house. It's pretty imposing, very opulent looking. The front yard has a large fountain.
I didn't notice that fountain last night. I guess
This
that
place
was
is nice.
Yeah, it's a woman cradling a fish, and the fish is spitting water out into the pool below.
You
I'm
Southerners.
just going to kind of make a mental note of this place anyway, kind of like I'd be casing the joint. That's would be my normal way of doing anything anyway.
All right, give me a perception check.
Lord. 6. Don't really notice anything except the exit, probably.
Yeah, you see one great entrance and exit point, the front door.
I'm going to set my cloak to the Green Company colors.
Yep. Okay.
Oh, also, I forgot to say, I guess Wilby, I'll be keeping my +1 to your armor that I can reset every long rest.
Oh, thank you very much.
You have a +1 to your armor class.
Great. Thanks.
And until further notice, I'm probably just going to keep choosing to give it to you because I think you have the least amount of armor class, right?
Probably.
All right. I don't need it. I'm at 21. All right. So I'll approach the doors, or if there's somebody out front or something, I'll just knock.
Yep, so you approach and knock. You wait a few minutes and the door kind of creaks open. The same tall, thin, elderly man in livery greets you as was there last night. Yes, you again. I believe our Lord, and he kind of looks over everybody. Yes, well, this way. And he just kind of opens the door.
Oh, yeah, we are sorely embarrassed.
Gestures everybody in.
Oh, why, thank you.
She'll follow.
This way. He heads down the hall, walking sort of slow enough so you can keep pace with him. But kind of like when you're playing an escort mission and you want him to just walk faster. He just walks a little too slow. Makes his way down the hall to a large double set of mahogany doors, which he then opens. And there's a room full of mirrors and light. The windows are thrown open. The nice morning sunshine is streaming through. There's a large hearth, which is lit and roaring to take off the early morning chill. And there is a table that is almost overflowing with food. There is fresh bread, there is clotted cream, there is honey, there is jams, there is scones, There is fruit. You can smell roast meats and bacon and sausages in platters, and seated kind of at the table and apparently already himself diving in, spreading cream and jam on a biscuit, is a fabulously richly dressed man, fairly round, about middle-aged, gray at the temples, not unappealing. He seems somewhat handsome, definitely someone who enjoys the finer things in life. There is quite a lot of jewelry on him, basically clad in sort of a mourning robe, but it's richly, it's a very rich silk. It has heavy thread, intricate design stitched on it. And he sort of finishes eating what he was and kind of dusts it off. Yes, my friends, come in, come in, come in, come in, come in, come in, come in. Oh, Rufus, stop staring so disapprovingly. These are adventurers. They always look like this. Come in, come in. Sit, 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 eat.
Thank you.
There's the invitation.
Wilby just beside himself and forgets all manners and just goes right for the food and starts collecting stuff.
No, she's right there beside him. Just, you guys can talk. Oh, no.
I'm literally staring at them like dumbfounded, like, what are you doing?
I'm trying to make a little bit of conversation. Your lordship, how are you?
Well, it is a fine morning indeed. When I saw the name on the message from Rufus, I just had to invite you in.
Well, we greatly appreciate you inviting us in.
Yes, yes. Well, I feel I'm somewhat at a disadvantage. I feel I know a rather lot about you, particularly some of you more than others, and of course, I'm assuming nothing about me.
That would be true.
I just got some bread in his mouth. Nope.
Yes, yes. Well, I am sure my name as you go further south will carry more weight, but I'm not quite surprised that in your line of work you had not heard my name, although many of the things you did have been of particular interest to me.
I'm surprised you've heard of us. This is the first time others this far south that I can remember at least have actually heard our name.
Yes, but unlike most people, a twofold interest, as it were, but as always, as everything does, it boiled down to money. You see, I was already fabulously wealthy, but you've helped keep me fabulously wealthy, and indeed returned on my investment.
I'd wondered if we were going to meet our benefactor at this stage. I thought we'd meet a little later on. Thank you for bringing us all together.
Yes. I suppose some people came in after as your guild established itself, but for those who went to Oak Hill originally, they did so in response to an ad calling on adventurers and mercenaries such as yourselves. And, most people didn't question so much the fact that much outlay was made on room and board and things like that to get everybody started. You did quite well. You established yourselves even quicker than I would have thought.
Hold on a second. Is this the guy that got our guild founded, basically?
Not the only one, but certainly a primary investor, as it were.
Forgive me. My nose is always so stuffed in a book. I guess I didn't pay attention enough to.
Oh, well, no, you could be hardly expected to. After all, it was not public knowledge.
That's true. I'm sure.
You will find on the forming charters and contracts that were signed when you joined the guild that there was certain stipulations and benefactors named, although not named specifically. Everything was merely handled through the normal serration system of exchange and taxation.
Wilby holding his code. Oh yes, this is true.
Yes, Wilby's very familiar with the founding documents and contracts.
Interesting.
So, I'm assuming this invitation is not just to meet and introduce. I'm assuming you're giving us a direct quest this time around.
Well, as I understand it, there was a request to be made of me, was what Rufus told me, unless Rufus has got it wrong again. Have you got it wrong again, Rufus?
No, he doesn't. Farnak, I came here last night requesting help.
There was a lot that went on last night, Orway.
You were passed out.
Yes, so I've been led to understand. I am a great admirer of adventure. Tell me, what happened?
Oh, I went to the Astral Sea. I did.
Oh, marvelous, marvelous.
Well, in all honesty, we found out that there was a creature. Well, not creature. It's someone who had been banished to a different realm that was inhabiting the Seven Steeds Inn for the last 6 days and was causing a bit of trouble. So we were trying to take care of that.
Ah, yes, well, creatures from other realms, when they pop up, do tend to be a rather bit of a nuisance, bad for business.
And I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to pull out the obsidian key and show him. I said, we also found this.
That is interesting.
Any idea? Have you seen anything like this?
Well, I'd be happy to take a look at it.
All right, I'm going to pass it over to him.
All right. And he takes it, looks it over. Well, I am a great admirer of artifacts. Of course, many come my way from people such as yourself when they're offloading their treasures for gold. Sometimes I rather like to collect. But this does not look familiar to me at all.
Okay. I was just wondering. I came across this in our travels and hadn't found any information about it yet.
It is certainly
something.
It is certainly an interesting piece, not like anything I've seen before.
Well, Oiwe, you had a request to make.
Yes, Lord Argon. The whole reason I requested an audience with you and some assistance is recently some elementals that were stuck in the Shadow Realm ended up being pulled through on the day of the conjunction. And they are bound to some of the stones from the old tower from before this town was founded. And they wish to be released. And I didn't realize because we were having a bad... Well, that's no matter. Either way, we need help possibly dispelling the binding that has stuck them to the stones.
Oh, well, that is easy enough done, I'm sure.
That would be great.
Yes, no, I should be able to do that, or rather have it done.
Yes,
it is
yes.
the least,
I
I
don't
can
exactly know which stone it is. It seems to be one of the few within the well in the courtyard behind the Seven Steeds.
Oh, well, I have in my employ someone of sufficient skill, I believe, to figure that out. It's not terribly difficult.
Just remember to remind them to be polite. These creatures are not dangerous unless provoked, though politeness will be a good factor in that.
Oh, yes, of course.
How do you sponsor any other groups other than our own?
Yes, of course.
Any names we may recognize that you have?
Well, I'm afraid that for me, that is it's considered proprietary information.
Okay.
I prefer to keep such matters mostly private. It is business.
Understandable.
And I have a great deal of business interest in the High Marches. It is not only the direct ROI that I receive on my initial investment, but your, shall we say, civilizing influence on the region helps my other business interests as well.
Such as?
Keeps the roads clear, banditry down, reduce attacks on mines, trade, prosperity, good for everybody.
Indeed.
At least all of those who care about progress and trade and prosperity.
I saw some members of the Green Company in town. I'm wondering if you know what inn they may be staying in, if they were around this part of town.
Yes. Well, they have been here quite a lot. They're in town mostly dealing with me.
Pardon me. What for?
Well, as I said, I have many business interests in the north.
They don't usually do dealings like that, as far as I can tell.
Everyone must do business at some point. I have business interests near on their territory, so it is only natural for them to be involved.
And do you know where they're staying, if they're still in town?
Yes, they are still in town. I expect Captain Eluvius to be by this morning, actually. I believe that they were staying at the Leaky Tap, I believe.
Okay. Sounds familiar.
Despite its name, it is a rather fine establishment.
Well, that's actually rather interesting seeing where all of our percentage given has gone.
Yes, not my largest ROI. You, in fact, managed to establish yourselves much quicker than most do before my initial investment was, but my investment was paid off with a little extra, and as I said, my other business interests also profit.
I do worry for the guild members left behind. I believe we brought the most civilized ones south. And Daichi.
Nudgy nods along.
Yes,
Just
well,
big stuff full of food. Yeah.
so you were headed south. That is different for most adventuring companies. The wealth is in the north.
Well, actually, I'm just coming along with them to see if I can find the owl bears. Have you seen them? Have they passed through here?
The owl
Orlando
bears.
bears?
Yes, why do you ask?
I'm just checking in on them.
Yes, they did pass through here. I had business with them. I've contracted them in the past.
That's good. What do you contract them for?
The same thing I contract most people for. To take care of bandits and secure my interests. Security. There's little else to hire a mercenary company for.
That's true.
Occasionally, things fall in my lap of direct interest, locations of lost tombs and that sort of thing, and then I will hire someone to get it rather more directly for a fair exchange of the proceeds.
Okay.
That makes a lot of sense. Did you see where they were going? Are they continuing down south?
I believe they are.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Delicate matter to deal with.
Like I said, they stopped here, we did some business, and I hired them to continue taking said business south.
Perfect.
I'm just there, at least the only one probably eating properly without, food falling down my cheeks. Just cover your
maybe
face.
not.
Farnock's got buttered bread and he's got an apple. He's polite. He believes in the old-fashioned politeness.
I'm trying to use my what manners I do have to the point that I'm not going to anger anyone.
Wilby's tried to be polite, but you keep seeing more things that look interesting.
Well,
I'll take
Argon,
one of those and one of those and one of those.
Yep.
Argon himself is eating quite a lot as he's talking. He's continuously eating. He's not making a mess, but he's definitely. I mean, he has not inconsiderable bulk, shall we say?
Just beans and eggs on Farnock's plate.
And there's like additional courses and things that come out.
Okay.
As the breakfast progresses.
He's filled, but not making a mess.
One of those breakfasts.
Yes, yeah.
You flat out said you stuffed your cheeks.
Yeah. No. That's just all stuff, but he's not wasting a single crumb.
That's not.
I'm going to kind of discreetly kind of pack a couple of the small loaves of bread away as we're doing this too.
Make a sleight of hand check.
Gosh. Stealing from the guy.
12.
No.
Okay, so Dachi sees this. Can Dachi try to help?
So you would see it after the fact, but you could also make a sleight of hand check if you wanted to slip some yourself.
And
I wasn't trying to slip some myself. I see it and I'm like, hey, big guy.
Oh.
I'm not that big.
How are you today? Just get his attention on Dachi.
To Argon.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll try and help out with this part too. So Dachi, listen, now that we have all of this, let me get this straight. So I take out my knife. So I cut the top off the bread and I hollow it out. And then I take my beans and my eggs and I put them inside the bread bowl. That's how this works.
Just about, yeah. I mean, you're seeing this right, Argon. Not
Yes.
over there. You're looking at us.
He's just like, of course.
Just
Bread
take some
bowls?
cheese and sprinkle it here. This is amazing.
No. Of course, this is usually how we would consume soup or stews, things of that nature. Eggs, maybe not so much. Because you do it with yesterday's bread.
Oh, so that explains why it's leaking into my hand.
So it would be stale, and then see the juices of the soup soak into the bread and make it, moist and delicious.
I learned something today, but I only learned about these yesterday.
Well, you can do it with fresh bread, of course, but you appear to be doing it with a flat bread.
I'm laughing to the point that snorting is happening. The dragon is chortling.
If you wish to see a trick, so he takes some of the goo that's got on his hands. He's got his gauntlets off, but he just kind of wipes it on the armor, chest, and sleeve, and it just absorbs into his armor.
So some of it disappears. Some of it actually kind of just falls off onto the floor.
The crumbs fall off. The slime.
Yeah, like Teflon. He's like, if I had china made of that substance, I could fire a dishwasher or two.
Oh, that is a most interesting idea. Yes.
It's all about maximizing the profit.
This may have actually come from one of the more profitable adventures we went on when we were still affiliated under your what would it be considered, a tithe?
Yes. We call it a tax to keep things simpler, but it's all return on investment.
I mean, if you've got enough to make such a large spread for breakfast, is this every morning for you?
No, of course. I may be a big man with big appetites. but not that big.
No. It would come in handy for this many dishes.
And of course, while accumulating wealth is in some ways its own regard, and having vast resources translates to power, what good is wealth if you do not spend it?
On the reason for going south, why the wealth is up north, yes, but the wealth of knowledge is in Surat. Finding a good library with decent information just doesn't happen in the north.
That is true. That is true.
I always literally just like out at the mention of library.
I have my holdings, of course, in Surat. I am a citizen, one of the merchant lords. But
Are there any allies we should seek out while we're there that your name may get us in good graces of?
well, let's just say that Surat is a hive of scum and villainy. And that doesn't just apply to the lower classes.
I understand bureaucracy. So, would it be better not to mention your name?
Well, you will have to judge for yourself, but there are a few. Cato counts as an ally. He stays in the city.
Well, that's more information than we walked in with, then. Thank you. This will be interesting. So, is there anything else you need of us today? We do have quite a few things to get on with.
No, I had merely invited you because there was a request of me. Speaking of which, I can send Lyriel, who's in my employ, to deal with this matter at, you said it was the well in the courtyard?
Yes.
Yes. The well in the courtyard behind the Seven Steeds. Does Lyriel speak Primordial?
Oh, I'm sure she does. She speaks a great many languages, but even if she didn't, she has means of making herself understood and understanding others.
I was just worried because until I spoke in Primordial, they weren't exactly happy to see themselves disturbed.
Elementals usually are not.
No.
Lyriel has some experience.
Good, I'm jealous.
Well, now you have
This is only the
experience.
second time. Very little experience.
Yeah, more than you did yesterday. Or the day before, as it were.
Yes, that. Yeah. Think of anything else.
He's sort of like pushing himself back from the chair, rubbing his belly a little bit. Excellent breakfast.
Definitely the most hospitality we've seen from anyone in our journeys.
Yes, well, you still have a long road ahead of you.
It feels like it's been months.
Sometimes the first steps are the longest. I'm sure after no time at all, the days will just blend together. After all, you're heading into safer and safer territory.
Let's hope we don't get too bored. So,
Speak for
Farnico
yourself.
get up and dab himself with a napkin, push in his chair, give a nod, and if I may be excused.
Yes, of course. Rufus can see you all out. Won't you, Rufus? Wipe that judgmental look off your face.
I love this guy.
Rufus still looks very disapproving.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, like, as Rufus, kind of moves to collect you, essentially, you can hear him sort of grumbling under his breath. filthy, adventurous, filthy, rude, manners, important station, very wealthy, important man.
I'm going to not like super formal, but formal enough that it's respectful. Bow and thank Lord Argon for the answer to our request and the lovely breakfast and assistance.
But of course, think nothing of it. As I said, you have made me a rather lot of money. And yeah, no, there's nothing I like better than money.
As Rufus is grumbling, I'm going to mumble to him. For someone so concerned with manners, you should find some yourself, child.
That she goes, ooh.
Rufus just grumbles.
Oh boy. Oh god.
All right.
Wilby on his way out does recover his manners and thank him for his hospitality and help and all that.
And he sort of busies himself, and Rufus kind of gently starts ushering you towards the doors. And
Dasha kind of tips his head to Argon, and as he's getting ushered to the door, he's just grabbing food and he's like, "Thank you for the hospitality. This is great."
He doesn't notice or seem to really care.
I just tell him thank you and good day.
Oh boy.
All right, and with that, we are going to take a little bit of a break. So we'll be back in a couple of minutes to continue. And when we do, I believe that Matt is going to give away some dice. You want to tell them what to do, Matt?
All right. When we come back, we're going to have a random drawing. You're going to pick a number between 1 and 250, and the person that has the number closest to it actually gets the dice. And these are the dice themselves right here. This is a nice little set right here. And it also comes with its little dice pouch.
Perfect. And we'll just get them to post it in chat.
All right.
All right.
Wow.
So it was one of our crew.
All right. We're back. And we have the results of the giveaway now that we have a fair competition. And Matt rolled the dice number. And Matt, why don't you tell us who won?
All right. The winner is Samantha. And if I'm going to, if you can just whisper me a place to send this, or I can send you my email address and you can email it to me. And I will be glad to send it to you in the mail.
Hey, Matt, tell her the number.
The number was 69.
Random generator.
Yeah.
Random generated.
Randomly generated with
Dirty random generator.
in Slack with 69. And Samantha Darcy wins with her guess of 75.
And Samantha Darcy will be actually joining us next week.
Yes, that's right. Next week on the 24th, when we're going to do a one-shot with the Fae. It should be interesting.
Oh, yes.
Tales from the High Marches. Yeah. Along with a variety of other people. And it's looking like it's going to be an extremely fun time and game. And I'm not panicking. Who's panicking? Not me.
Better be ready.
All right.
Better be ready.
Excellent. Okay, well, so let's dive back into the game, guys. Okay. So, you guys have just finished breakfast.
I'm still carrying my soggy bread bowl.
I
I can wash it off if I need.
don't think there's any point of washing off a bread bowl.
No, I mean wash my gauntlets and everything else off. Trying to hold it in.
Okay. So it's a beautiful morning. I think, your breakfast with Lord Argon, probably took like an hour or so, basically. And so what are you guys planning on doing?
I am heading for the leaky tap.
Okay.
I'm going to follow along with Farnak because I figure he needs some backup at some point.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go along as well.
All right.
I gotta get the wagon ready to go. Because there's
Keep the colors, but I don't know if I'm allowed to have the emblem where I'm not an official card-carrying member of the Green Company.
Well, for all intents and purposes, you basically are, right? You have a direct association with that icon as a faction.
Okay. So yeah, and I guess I forgot my shield also has the stag emblem.
Yep.
Right, so that's the direction I'm heading. I believe it was pointed to us earlier, well, the previous day, saying we could stay there after the fiasco at the other inn.
Yep. So you make your way through. It's in a slightly different part of town. When you get to it, it indeed has a sign hanging out front that has what looks like a beer tap that is leaking liquid into a glass.
It's odd that wasn't
okay.
the automatic assumption I made when I heard tap. I pictured like a pump faucet leaking water. But this makes more sense now.
Yeah, and it's a rather, it's a 2-story building similar to the Seven Seas carriage house. Not quite as big, but similarly, built of stone on the bottom. The top floor seems to be made out of timber.
Farnak, what exactly are we heading this way for?
I have some allies that sent me a letter last night before all of that went down. They had offered us help, not that we needed any more, but it's only polite to stop in and let them know how the situation is going.
Okay. I was just wondering. So I just thought you were getting out and about, so I thought I would check it out.
There's some information that maybe they may not talk to you about in front of you, just matters of the company. So don't be offended if they seem a little dodgy around you being here.
That's fine.
I can vouch for you, though. They may accept it. My matter involves Lord Argon.
All right. Okay. Well,
I'll
if
open
you
the
need me to disappear, just tell me.
If it feels like they're trying to ask you to disappear politely, just go see what the others are doing. No
Okay.
offense. They're not going to mean offense. This could be just delicate matters, political, not that I know too much about that. Just checking in with some friends, really.
All right. Sounds good.
Maybe they have a good lamb stew. Last night's was very disappointing.
Well, we can go check things out.
Okay.
Food's always a good thing.
So I'll head on in. I'm done with the bread bowl at this point.
Okay, so just the two of you guys going.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, so you push open the door and enter a pretty bright and airy common room. It's not dank and dim or anything. There's a good light coming in through the south-facing windows. Everything's spread out quite nice. And there is definitely a clear delegation there from the Green Company. You can see in one of the corners of the room, a long table has been set up. There's about a half dozen people at it. It's a mix of elves, half-elves. There's a Firbolg that is sitting there at the table. There's a couple of very small-looking individuals that, when you look closer, appear to be goblins. And at the head of the table is a rather stately-looking elf, clearly in command. He's got sort of a leather and bit of, mithril plate armor with the stag's head emblazoned in silver on the front. His hair is long, brown, a few streaks of gray, which for an elf indicates that he is rather advanced in years. And he looks up as you enter the room, and his face breaks out in a smile, and you recognize him as Captain Eluvius.
Well, rude not to join them then. I head on over.
And he stands up as you approach and waits till you get close and just steps forward and says, Farnak, it is good to see you again.
Has been too long.
And he, reaches out, warmly embraces you, pats you on the back.
Carry on.
Yeah. Steps back, hands kind of clamped on your shoulders, looks you up and down. Well, you've clearly gotten at least a few years older on me. And this armor, magnificent.
It's amazing what you just get up to when you leave the woods.
It is indeed. Although I miss them with every passing day. Too much business outside of the elf marks these days.
Learning that the further south we get, I'm missing the comfort of home.
Yes, please, sit, join me.
Yes.
Your friend here.
He is a member of the guild that I joined when I left the forest, and he's trustworthy.
Good, well, any friend of yours is a friend of ours. You've proven yourself.
We've actually just came from Lord Argon's place. We had breakfast with him, and he seems a little different from the description you gave in the letter you sent. Very jovial, very polite.
Well, Argon is many things to many people.
We do bring him a lot of money. He's the guild's original benefactor that I joined. I didn't know this before we went in there.
Ah, well, yes. Many of the merchant lords engage in that sort of commerce, among other things.
I did not bring up the other form of commerce you mentioned. Trade route north seems not the best idea.
Well, you know as well as I do that trade does go as far north as it does, although it is always difficult.
But moving that far, the Thys and the cousin tribes, they're really not fond of the more civilized ones moving through.
Yes, but you know as well as I do that limited trade at least passes through even beyond the Weir Mountains.
Do you know what information? I doubt you would have sent me a letter about the subject.
Well, we're here just investigating, trying to see what Argon and the other merchant lords' intentions are.
They don't seem to care about anything but money, so I hope they don't plan on disrupting the North any.
Well, you know as well as I do that their reach extends ever further. Mining, furs, timber, the loot that you and people of your compatriots find in far-flung locales. Where there's wealth, they will bring more.
I do worry about the pushback. The Thys will not like more and more encroaching on what they see as their territory.
That is true. Although, to be honest, that is not quite of the concern of ours.
I'm just more worried about them saying you've gone too far and then making the push to take that land back and the bloodshed. I've spent my whole life seeing. They're fierce, and I've learned more about them in the last year than I learned in my entire life, and though I now see the honor in them, I do not want to see them decide that they are tired of the merchant caravans moving through.
Well, you've lived most of your life not even inside their territory proper. It's merely where they occasionally are and their relations. But our interests are concerned with the elf marks.
Double wind. What concerns do you have? Anything I could bring up as being on more cordial terms with him?
Well, it is not things that we seek to bring up directly. That is why we are circumspect here and negotiating. But our concern is what the merchant lords really want. Do they want, for instance, to push into the elf marks? Do they want to try and enrich themselves on what they find within?
It's their
The great
100%.
trees, fey creatures, that sort of thing.
There's always going to be wealth in it for them, or they wouldn't do it.
And that is what we are concerned about. The treaty is the treaty, but those who are not as long lived of us as us appear to all too quick to forget it.
They find wealth for the use of the young or those who wish to stay young. You'll learn one day that accumulation of money does not really buy you happiness at the end of life. It does buy you happiness in the meantime. But hopefully it doesn't lead to too much. The treaty is very important.
Well, all of this change is rather quick. While it may have been a century and several generations for humans, it has been but a blink of an eye for us. And already the treaty is far degraded in the esteem it is held by those on the other side than it once was. And if this continues, then eventually the treaty will be broken.
May I ask what treaty you speak of? I'm not exactly sure what you're talking of.
Looks over. Tell me, were you, and forgive me if this is rude or direct, but were both your parents human like most with your lineage, elven lineage, or was one of your parents perhaps actually one of us?
My one of my parents was one of you, right? It was my mother. It was my father, who was elven,
and he did not tell you much, I am assuming.
I was raised by my grandmother on my mother's side.
A pity. Well, the Treaty of Arkad was struck with Nindaris of Surat a century ago and is what allowed us, or in a way invited us, to return to this world. Before that, I had lived all my life in the Fey realms.
I guess it is fortunate for me that you were able to do that.
Yes, or you would not be here.
No. Well, I guess in a way I would owe my life to the treaty.
Indeed. And, well, the merchant lords rule in Surat, and they care about wealth, and every year it seems like the treaty is less and less important. Never mind what we did to aid them.
But it seems sometimes that the humans actually are short of memory for many things.
Well, when you live but the blink of an eye, it is to be expected, I suppose.
It is.
So, those are our concerns. What the merchant lords are after and whether Argon has any deeper motives besides just a trading outpost.
He did mention that our guild and those he has hired have helped bring civilization to the north, which makes me worry that we've somehow weakened the hold of nature and aided him in moving his feet into the door.
That is what the merchant lords ever want. In fact, most of humanity.
Gold, gold, gold it is.
Indeed. So we will do what we can. Of course, if his intention is to set something up outside of our territory, we really have no say in the matter one way or another.
If he decides to go after your trees or your creatures, anything that seems like it shouldn't be there, call on our guild.
We will.
If you need the help.
We will, of course. Although I think that our arrows will fly swift and true to any interloper.
About the other part of the message, we dealt with the matter that we were struggling with yesterday overnight. So, thankfully, your assistance won't be needed with that. But we have It's quite a tussle, actually. There was a shadow that had come across at the convergence. It was terrorizing an inn, and it decided to come to us for the fight.
Interesting. A shadow, you say?
Hmm.
Claims to be 1,600 years old.
Hmm. Well, nothing I can offer you there, as my people were not here.
Hmm. We are transporting an item, something that I had heard the Green Company had assisted with. Part of artifact of the Theus.
Maybe. I am not aware of it myself. It's not something.
These, surely you've heard of the Mad Theus, the ones that have gone insane, attacking villages, digging up artifacts.
Yes, of course. And renegades and.
They were trying to construct something, and we have a piece of it, and we're taking it south to Surat. Would you have any suggestions on who we could entrust it with?
I'm going to assume that you're referring to something that is potent and powerful.
About potent enough that the Shadow seemed to be attempting to use it as a source to restore him to whatever his full life force was. And he almost succeeded.
Well, then I would do one of two things. Find someone powerful that I definitely trusted, or bury it in a hole so deep that it never returns.
We had thought about a ship.
Which was my suggestion in the first place.
It's true, although keep in mind, the ocean not nearly as empty as many think.
They've been digging them up, so that would leave me to believe that they will dig as much as they need to get this. The Green Company is in possession of another one of the artifacts associated with it. I believe they need all of the pieces to the puzzle, but I think we may have the most powerful one.
That may be, and I'm sad to say that my expertise in areas arcane is quite limited.
I'm going to pull out that obsidian key. And have you ever seen anything like this before?
He takes it, looks at it for a minute, shakes his head. It is a key made of some sort of gem. I haven't seen anything specifically like this.
I came across it the other day. It's kind of got me puzzled. I've been wondering what it is.
I am afraid that I cannot help you. I am a little bit more. He sort of pats the sword that's leaning up against the chair that he's sitting in. I favor more direct approaches.
Would you happen to know anybody that might know something about this particular thing?
You can. I've been told that there are people with. Whether it is magical or not, I do not know. There are certainly methods of learning more about particular items through arcane means, but as I said, I am rather lost in that area.
Okay. Well, thank you, and I'll take it back from him.
Although if you're going to Surat, it is the home of the Adamantine Circle. More powerful wizards you will not find outside of the elf marks, at least.
Well, it was very good catching up to you, with you today, Luvius. It's always a pleasure to run into someone especially familiar this far south from home. I doubt I'll be meeting anyone else I know in the next few weeks.
That may be, but always remember your contacts. We have friends and delegations. There are representatives of our court and the other two courts in Surat.
Any
we have our
names
embassies. I'm not aware of who the ambassador is currently, but the embassies are rather clear.
Well, that's great help, actually.
You have all the proper signs to introduce yourself.
And I'll get up and just do the bow and the poses for respect.
Taichi, Wilby, Yahweh. What are you guys doing?
I'm just setting up the cart, so as soon as they're done with whatever they're doing, we can get on the road.
Okay.
So do you have any ideas on how to get this thing back in the cart?
They already, I believe, Farnak and the
Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, you guys can easily, having spent any amount of time, get it back in.
Yeah.
It's not that big a deal. It's heavy, but you have enough people with strength and all of that to get it back.
Okay.
The goat's stronger than
Yeah,
you.
so I'd be checking on the horses and making sure all that's good to go.
Yep. The horses seem calm. They, roll their eyes on occasion, having had a little bit of an eventful night, but with all the TLC that I'm sure Wilby gives them.
Yep.
I'd actually like to stand in the courtyard where the well is and not get up next to it, but wait and maybe at least for an hour to see if the person that Lord Argon said he would send would actually show up.
Okay. After about 30 minutes or so of waiting, a woman, sort of harried looking, she's got kind of simple robes on, spectacled, her hair sort of disarrayed, would scurry into the courtyard and look around and see you and go, Oyawe, is it?
Yes.
Lyriel.
Lyriel, hi. Nice to meet you.
She points at the well. Elementals?
Yes, they are bound magically to one of the stones.
Yes. Argon's told me.
I don't know specifically which one.
Oh, no problem. I'll get on it. She pulls out some implements, pulls out a book. She sits down and says, I need to prepare for a moment. She sits down, concentrates, goes through some forms. You can tell she's casting some spells. And then she opens her eyes, and they sort of are glowing with a bit of a bluish light. And she goes over towards the well and starts speaking in Primordial. And you can understand her, of course. And she appears to be talking, sort of doing the like, shh, it's okay. It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you. You don't need to appear. It's okay. I'm going to unbind you now. And she's looking all over the well, and you see her start poking around. And she takes out some chalk, and she marks a stone here. She moves around, marks a different stone. And she starts talking to you, but it's in a very sort of absent-minded way. Sort of one of those when someone's doing something and they kind of natter about what they're doing, but without really paying any attention to you. And she's just talking sort of, yes, a little eldritch sight to see the magic, investigate the stones one by one. Pick out those with the sigils engraved. See, I'm marking these. Going through. Careful investigation always pays off. She's marking several different ones.
She's watching very closely.
Yeah. And then, so she marks them all. Lay out a plan. You gotta unseal these. Not just the right way. Just a couple should do and break the chain. All bindings already weakened since the stones are all jumbled and out of order. Fluke chance almost that just some of the right ones managed to make it to the well taken from the tower, from the ruins. Alright. Break this one. And she pulls out a dagger and casts another spell and sort of chisels off on part of the stone and scores across, and you see a little bit of a flash of light. And she does another couple, and then she goes to sort of the final one. She says, just one more. And she reaches in her pocket and lays out two gemstones on the ground in front of her. This one will take a little bit more time, and starts proceeding through another spell. She's going through the motions, stringing together, and she takes out the dagger and sort of scours across, and there's a flash, and the stones flash, and she goes, there. She gathers the stones up, puts them in her pocket, dusts her hands off.
Would I have recognized that last spell?
Make an Arcana check.
Suspicious Dragonborn is suspicious. Oh, might help if I have my character sheet like visible on my screen. Oh, dirty 20.
Okay. So it looked like as she was going through that she did cast Dispel Magic a couple of times and sort of, scoured and broke the sigils. The last one was a little bit different. She cast some sort of transference spell. So she just gets up, she puts the stones in her pockets, dusts off. All right. Everything done for Lord Argon? Happy to have helped.
Where are they? We're supposed to at least, unbind them so we can try and send them back to their plane.
When they're unbound, they're released. You don't need to send them back. They can go back themselves. Once the binding is done, it is only the binding that keeps them here.
DM, that's not what exactly happened, though, right? I'm assuming, right? Transference, it moved it from the stones to the gemstones.
You're assuming that that's what that spell did, yes?
So it didn't set them free; it just bound them to something else.
Based on your Arcana check, yeah, and just knowing the spell that she cast.
Okay, but you just then to her. But you just bound them to those two gemstones.
Don't know what you're talking about.
I just watched you do it.
Mm-hmm. I unlocked the binding. And I'll be off. And she starts moving away to push past you.
I don't know what to do.
You're a giant dragonborn. Don't forget that.
I know, but no, I'm not gonna let her go. I promised them I would get them back to their plane.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about they need to be unbound from anything in particular so they can get back to their plane. You bound them to those two stones. That is not setting them free like I promised.
I don't know what you're talking about, and quite frankly, I'm offended at the accusation.
Do I have anything that'll help me? Probably not.
Now, if you excuse me, I'll be on my way. You have no authority to detain me here. I am in the employ of Lord Argon. Did what I came to do, and I will be off.
Okay, well, maybe I'll speak to Lord Argon about the issue here.
Feel free. Like I said, I am insulted at the accusation. Now, if you excuse me, good day, madam.
Yeah, but Detect Magic only shows it to me. It doesn't show it to everybody.
No, just shows it to you.
And she goes to move by you.
Okay, all right. I'll let her go.
Okay. She walks out. All right. So what is everybody doing?
I say to Zyrus as we walk by, this has actually been a very good birthday.
I guess Fartnack and I are going to end up walking back at some point.
Perhaps we could stop to get some cake. It was a tradition back at home.
Next, one of those grumpy old men who's like, "It's my birthday. Somebody care."
He's talking and Cyrus is just not hearing him at all.
There's a bakery somewhere. We're in a nice part of town. Just a quick stop at a bakery. I'm in full plate with the mask down.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a bakery.
I'm gonna walk into the bakery, just a big.
Barnack, what are you doing?
I'm getting some cake.
It's called Esmeralda's Eatery.
Why is your helm down? Are you going to rob the place?
And this is said as you guys push in,
If you
and
are,
there's a
then
woman behind the
there's a little
counter.
bit subtler ways of doing it than this.
Yep, and as the door is pushed open and Farnak steps through, and the woman behind the counter hears, Farnak, what are you going to do? Rob the place? The woman's like, oh my, I don't have anything, just cakes and pastries and bread.
I'm sorry, my friend was acting a little strange. I didn't mean it the way it came out. We were joking around mostly.
Friday takes the helmet off and sets it down, reaches into the bag of holding and pulls out a gold piece.
And I'm going to flip back my hood so she can actually see my face and my nice bald head.
Oh, you gave a old lady quite a fright.
I'm very sorry.
Apologize.
My friend has a lack of tact sometimes. It's my birthday, and I just wish to purchase.
I just kind of glare at him when he said a lack of tact. Really?
Respect your elders, Sonny.
Now you said something about a birthday. Yours?
Yes, I'm 62 and wish to purchase a cake to share with my companions for the road.
Well, happy birthday, grandfather.
Well, thank you. So, I would... Not familiar with... Are there any differences in the cakes down here and the cakes back home? Do you have any local traditions?
I don't know about local traditions, but I rather think that my spiced raisin rum cake is insanely delicious.
That does sound amazing.
It has a lovely frosting, lemon frosting.
And how does it hold up on the road?
Oh, well, I'm afraid most of my cakes after, a day or so start to get stale.
That is good to know. We shall eat it immediately. And how much would you like for this?
Well, I have two sizes, and she pulls out two different cakes. One's about twice as big as the other. This one is 3 silver, and this one is 5.
He sets down the gold piece. I shall take both.
Well, delightful. And she slides the coin, starts counting out change. Sits the silver
Are the cakes
down.
in a box, or are we talking like just on platters?
She basically figures out a little way to package them up. I mean, they don't really have, handy paper cardboard boxes to fold.
I'm just kind of picturing like a wooden plate to carry them each on.
No, I can imagine that there's sort of some sort of, not quite a plate, but a thin board or something underneath it, and something to protect the top, and basically go into a bag of some kind.
Okay.
Careful when you're carrying them.
I'll go and I will leave behind the silver change.
Okay.
I'll carry them out. Got a smile on my face as the day is going very well.
I'm going to pick up a couple of loaves of kind of a harder bread for travel.
Okay.
Also, how much is that going to end up being?
It'd be, like a silver a loaf or something.
Okay. All right. I'm going to hand her 3 silver and go ahead and pick up three loaves for us.
Yep. She pulls them out, sort of slides them into a bag, gives them over.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I go ahead and give her an extra silver.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you.
As we're going, as we're out the door. See, we didn't rob the place. I think we actually left it richer than we found it. So, that key you've been flashing around all day. Can I take a look at it? Just hold it out so I can see it. My hands are a bit full.
Okay. I pull it out and show him.
I'm going to detect magic, see if there's anything on it.
Okay. So you cast Detect Magic, and it does light up.
Interesting.
Well, you say it belongs to a dead traveler.
wouldn't be terrible to find out what this may have been protecting if they were staying at the inn. I was thinking perhaps I could offer some cake to everyone as a bit of a distraction. Go find out what this person maybe have used such a fantastical key for. I know when we were freshly new, we didn't have anything of the sort. So a magical key will go to a very specific lock and maybe holding something we could find useful for ourselves.
Hey, Farnak, hang on for a second. I think I also may have something else that may help. I'm going to reach into my my pouch and pull out that book.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of acquired this one also too. I'm thinking it's from the same guy. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, so this will be the first time. So maybe we need to get everybody together and kind of take a look at it now.
They can do that. I want to go back to the inn and let the people who are still there, ourselves and the staff, everyone probably needs to pick me up after the events of the last 6 days. And if you wish to sneak away at any point to do some investigating, that would be the time to do it.
Yes, it would be.
So we'll make our way back with these 2 big cakes.
And my bread that I'm going to go ahead and store in the wagon. Well, no, I'm going to put it with my pack. I don't want to eat by the rats or something.
Okay. All right. So you guys eventually find your way back.
I go into the inn, not the carriage house, but the actual steeds. And any workers there, or has it been kind of cleaned out?
It's relatively empty. Ava is still there. She's doing some work. There's a couple of the serving people. You don't see any of the guests.
Good. Okay. I'll set the cakes down and go out and call in the others who are waiting by the wagon. It's our wagon now. We can leave whenever we want. And today, I just want to relax after that. Keep us from getting too grouchy on the road. I'm 62, and I wish to spend it amongst good people.
I mean, the owl bears kind of still have those deers in cages.
We know they're on the way to Surat. Surat will be on the way. They didn't exactly take kindly to us following them, and they know our faces. Now we don't have the guards on the caravan to back us up. There were 12 of them. Whatever comes of them, we can't take them. Some losses have to be cut, Daichi.
Okay.
Do we have any apples? Zephyr would most definitely like some on the road.
Sure, we can get some apples.
Oh, very good.
I had a couple from when I stole everything for breakfast.
So
I picked this up with about 3 loaves of bread. So that should kind of hold us for a day or so.
So I'll go back into the inn and call Ava and the others over.
Yes.
Sure. I've purchased some cakes and sort of as a way to try and brighten up the spirits of the people here. It's been a rough 6 days for you, and maybe our actions the other day didn't come off as being the most polite to the others.
7.
Well, it's most appreciated. I'm sure.
I was wondering if we would be able to check out the room that it had been inhabiting.
Of course, the guards and Sister Miriam were through it already. They said they didn't find anything there of particular note.
Go ahead and have some cake. Share it with the others.
Mm.
Plenty for everybody.
Thank you.
So, Zyrus, would you like to come up and help me with some investigations of our own?
Yes, I would. I think I can maybe be of some help.
I would be most interested in that too.
So, as we're going up the stairs, so where did you find the book?
And I point to the first room right there as we come up the stairs on the left.
Have you read it yet?
I have not.
Okay. So I'll go into the room and cast Detect Magic again.
On which room?
The room that he found the book and the Traveler pack in.
Okay. So you cast Detect Magic and look around, and nothing lights up.
Okay. Now it is a 10-minute concentration spell. So
Hang on one second.
So my intention is to move room to room, taking a look and seeing, just kind of a peek in to see what shows up. I think unless it's like being hidden behind lead, that should be fine.
Yep. Don't see anything.
Even at the very end room.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that does. Well, Zyrus, it doesn't seem whatever the key goes to is either here or the lock itself isn't magical. I'm not detecting any magic in any of the rooms.
Huh.
Maybe the book has a description of where we may be able to find it. It could be a journal.
That's what I was wondering maybe too. When you said something about that, that made me stop to think about it because I picked it up, like I said.
Did they say where he was coming from? Is he coming from the south to the north, or was he going down?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I did find out his name was Richter, and that was about all.
You should remember that. Perhaps we may come by someone he may have known.
Excuse me?
We may come by someone who knew him, find out some more information on this.
We might be able to. That's one of the things I've been trying to find out, if anybody knew him.
All right. While they're upstairs, Oyawe, Daichi, Wilby, what are you guys doing?
Wilby said he came up.
Yeah, I actually wanted to go up with.
Okay. So yeah, sorry, Oyawe and Daichi.
Daichi's eating some cake.
Sadly staring at a piece of cake. What the hell do I do?
The cake is rather delicious.
I haven't even touched it. I'm just so depressed that I couldn't keep my promise, and I don't know what to do.
It's a very good cake. Ava has some. She enjoys it. She talks to you guys a little bit. She thanks, Oyawe, she thanks you in particular for what you did healing some of the patrons and that sort of thing.
I'm glad I could help.
So I come down and see this. It's very odd seeing a dragonborn pouting.
Very sad dragonborn.
Now I feel bad being merry on this day. What's eating you, Oiwei?
You know how we spoke to Lord Argon about dispelling the spell at the well and stuff?
How did that go?
It didn't. I should have had Wilby do it from the get-go. I don't think she unbound them. She dispelled them from the stones, but then I think she bound them into 2 gemstones. And I don't know if that's Lord Argon's choice or...
There's money to be made in controlling nature's forces.
I know, but I promised them I'd get them back to their plane. What am I supposed to do?
Losses would be compounding. Could always send Zyrus in. Though he's had a bad streak of luck lately.
Yes, please send him to steal from the merchant lord of the town we're currently staying in and currently heading towards.
Yes. Keep speaking about that in front of Ava.
I'm really sad right now. I'm not paying attention to what I'm saying, okay?
Ava doesn't appear to notice.
Like with the Theus in the cage, some battles aren't going to be won. We can't save everyone.
Yeah. We're still heading in the same way as them, though.
From what I got of it, something specifically he said they
they stopped in, but then they carried on with what they had. So he did not leave the Theos here. We haven't seen any ice forming on this. And it'll be interesting to see with the runes gone if ice will continue to form as we get closer.
That's actually a good point.
Oh,
Probably worth just seeking them out just to see if that works.
So just to correct, because I think misunderstood each other. When I said that the runes faded, I mean like they'd been lit up and then the light faded.
Okay.
The runes themselves are still on the
They're still
artifact.
there.
Still magic. Okay.
Yeah.
Farnak's assumption that thing was in there just absorbing the energy of it. You don't understand the magics.
He knows more than Dachi.
Dan, well, I'm upstairs. I'd like to go into the back room where the entity was.
Yep.
And see if I notice anything or any weird feeling or arcane connection in that room.
Make a perception check.
That's 22.
Okay. So you kind of reach out and just, with your various attuned senses, having had such direct experience, and whatever it was that was here, you get, the feeling sort of in a resonance kind of sense that it's gone.
That it's gone.
Yeah.
If I pull out the 2 collars I have,
yep.
Do they both seem mundane now, or?
They do.
Okay. I'm going to hold on to those.
Okay.
And then just come down the stairs and see everybody being sad and there's cake and this is music.
All right.
Yeah, like I got what I wanted out of it. And some cake.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the next leg of our journey is heading off. I'm assuming at this point it's like 1 o'clock or so.
Yeah.
Had a couple hours out there.
Yeah.
When we get kind of everybody out of our little party together, I want to show Yahweh that key that we have, and see if she recognizes anything about it. And then sometime I need to check to see if I can actually read that journal.
Okay.
If it is a journal.
Honestly, are you telling Yahweh about the journal?
I'm showing her the key, and I will tell her about tell her about it in a little bit.
Okay, because don't forget that she's like speed reading, like memorization demon here.
Okay.
So in terms of the key, when you look at it, make a Arcana check.
Oh, okay, I was just going to use identify as a ritual.
Oh, you could do that for sure. I mean, Arcana is just like a knowledge thing, but yeah, you can definitely use identify.
All right. I'll do that first.
Okay.
No, internet. Why are you saying you're unstable?
It's okay. It was just a little hiccup. You're all right now.
Okay. Oh, so it did actually do something then. Huh.
Yep. So you're casting identify.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
As a ritual spell.
Yep. So you start saying your prayers over it, wafting some incense over it, that sort of thing, tuning yourself. Your incense smells like a forge.
Yeah.
Little sulfurous. But then when you complete the spell, the key has basically the magical property that it can unlock something specific that was locked with an arcane lock. But it's a very it's not a specific pairing.
So it does open a specific lock though.
No.
No.
It's general. It won't open any lock, but it works on things that were locked with the spell Arcane Lock.
Ooh, so can unlock any lock that was okay. That's awesome.
It's a skeleton key.
I was about to say, well, can I tell if it's
magical skeleton key.
Can you tell if what?
Can I tell if it's a one-use item or is it like a multiple?
Oh, it seems like it's a permanent enchantment.
Ho! Ho! Ho!
Oh, Osiris.
Cyrus, this is the perfect thing for you.
Osiris, where did you find this lovely, lovely thing?
Oh, here and there.
Yeah, don't tell Oyako. She'd be very disappointed in you. This can unlock any arcane, so long as it is a lock that's been locked with a certain spell. You can unlock that lock as many times as you run into them.
Oh, I like this.
Oh yeah, this is amazing. The Dragonborn for the moment has forgotten the sad promise unkept. Okay, I gotta write that down. That's awesome. And you said you'd mention you did mention the journal to her.
Yes, I am going to mention the journal also.
Do you want me to read it, and I'll convey to you anything of interest?
Please, I haven't had a chance to look at it yet.
All right.
All right. So you
Speed reading dragon is a go.
So he hands over the book, and you glance at the cover, and it is definitely not a journal. Yeah, it's a book called Vaults of the Arcane.
I already love where this is going.
And it's by, the author is Nizar the Red.
Okay, so book. I need to write on this side because my handwriting is getting gross. Book. Vaults of the Arcane.
Yep.
Author again, sorry?
Nizar the Red. Neizar.
And EI?
Yep.
AR?
ZAR.
Yep,
And-
I
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I heard the Z.
Yeah.
Just
Yes, Z for all of the non-Canadians.
No, I watch Australian YouTubers, so I figured it out.
That's right. And the Brits say Z too. Damn it, there's more of us. Actually
I think
not.
they were first.
No, they're parallel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Vaults of the Arcane, author Nizar the Red.
Yep.
This isn't even a journal.
No.
Cyrus.
It's a treatise. It's like a scholarly work. Nizar the Red is, from reading it sort of quickly and skimming it, Nizar the Red was outcast from the Adamantine Circle. And it's a book talking about many of the various, artifacts and things like that were supposedly, at least at one time, in the vaults of the Adamantine Circle. But the book was written about 50 years ago.
Okay. Adamantine Circle 50 years ago.
Yep.
Dealing with artifacts that dealt with the Adamantine Circle, right?
Yeah, the Adamantine Circle is the big sort of mages guild, essentially.
Okay.
So it's a bit of a treatise discussing various things that were supposedly in their vaults.
Oh,
Yep.
I get it. This guy was planning to steal some stuff.
It's basically like if you opened it, it'd be like the DMG magic items list. Like, it's just going through, obviously not everything, but talks about lots of different items and specific things, including some artifacts. And as you're flipping through, you get near the end, and there's a section called Artifacts of Dark Occultism.
Yeah.
And you read through, and there's a few different ones. But then there's a section that is circled in the book and has some notes written down beside it. And it's detailing a book called The Book of Vile Darkness.
I was interested at the beginning. Now I'm a little scared.
So the Book of Vile Darkness, because it has a bit of a description there, is a pretty evil artifact. It was considered evil even by Nizar the Red, who apparently was expelled because there's some sort of margin notes in there as well. And Nizar in the book had a little bit of a autobiography, shall we say. He was, expelled for pursuing necromancy, and not that necromancy is forbidden by the Adamantine Circle, but there's limits, and he transgressed those. He wanted access to this book, but it was being locked away for very good reasons. And it is full of all sorts of obscene rites that gives people particular abilities in terms of influence and persuasion and that sort of thing. But it's also said that it contains secrets on how to transcend death.
Okay, so don't say anything to Farnak then. Got it. Don't glare at me.
You don't know his intention here. This is all the stuff he's talked about. Oh, see, you don't know why he's going down yet. It's his birthday.
No,
he's 62. He's happy to be alive.
That's only an out-of-character thing, right? That I know that. So,
do tell. So what is it? What are you learning about?
Oh, geez. Not good things.
Is that the Book of Vile Darkness?
Are you serious? Can you even read?
No. This is not 3rd edition.
What exactly are we?
Apparently, it sounds like this person.
This thing doesn't sound too good.
It seems it's good that this person is no longer with us. He didn't seem to have good intentions.
Yeah, it seems. Yeah, I really don't. Yeah. This is very interesting, and it's nice to have this information in case we come across it in, the world. But hopefully, we're not planning on robbing anything this big. Seriously, just gonna look at Zyrus.
Really?
You're the one that got mad at me for implying that he was a thief. Well, we can keep that in my bag. No one will get a hold of it. Farnak opens up.
I think I'll hang on to that if you don't mind.
The journal or the key? I just need the...
Both.
Okay. Just don't want you getting bogged down with those tiny little elf arms.
Don't.
What language was the book written in anyway, Dan?
Common.
Common? Okay.
Yep.
I'll take a little time over as we travel to read through it a little bit too. Some of the other atoms that were on the list that may be something I would maybe want to pursue at some later time.
By the way, I only stated the vagueness of it. I didn't state any specifics.
Okay.
So
I'm just going to read through it.
I'm sure you would find the page again at some point.
Yeah.
Because the way she reads is she literally just scans the entire page, looks at all the words, basically like memorizing it, and then she processes it afterward. So it's not like she was reading it to you guys as she was looking at it.
It's basically like you copy it page by page with your smartphone. Click, click.
Except way
click.
faster.
Yeah.
All right.
Should we get on the road, or do you wish to wait till morning? We have a lot of camping to do, and we're alone now.
Oh,
Well, what time is it now anyway?
It's about, at this point, as she's taken the time to go through the book, it's probably about 2 in the afternoon.
I think
I don't see any reason to get on the road this late. I mean, we will barely get.
This isn't late. Let's get going. The city is making me uncomfortable.
We will get down the road just a little bit, and then we'll end up having to set up camp.
That's better than the city.
One more night in a rail bed will not hurt us.
we didn't even spend the night in a real bed last night, Zyra.
This is true.
This is true. That means
True. See? We need a bed.
You guys can use a bed, I guess.
I'm tired of beds.
I need a hot bath. My arthritis is...
Actually, you know what? If we're going to stay to get Farnak to bathe, I will stay.
Oh boy.
Oh, Lordy.
Nothing wrong with needing a good soak after a hard days of labor yesterday.
You can literally soak until we're about ready to leave.
You were run over by a boulder. How are you so spry?
That's a good question.
Magic.
So
To have a bath.
if we're staying, I'll ask Iway if she'd be interested in checking out the bridge a bit more.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Well, as you guys talk about staying in baths and stuff, eventually, one of the serving girls would overhear, and Ava would come over and offer that you guys can stay. Given your age, she would be happy to put you up for the evening. It's the least that she could do.
Sweet.
Well, thank you.
And she sort of says, and as you can tell, we're a little lacking in customers.
It's what happens when supernatural beings sort of invite themselves in. Sorry.
I'm sure eventually our reputation will recover, and we've already started on a fresh pot of lamb stew.
I was just about to ask. That's the reason worth staying for.
It'll be ready come supper time. We're sorely lacking in supplies, which is why your portion the other evening was so small. But we've got a fresh pot going as we speak.
Well, I'll pull out the spice pouch and set it down. You may use this if you need anything from it. Just say the name of a spice and it's yours.
Ah, delightful.
I think you can get about 10 good pinches out of it.
She looks at it and she goes, saffron. Her eyes light up.
And then she probably throws it right at Farnak just to make him smell better.
It's actually probably, it's only at 8 charges right now.
Oh, Dachi hands over a bag of 10 gold. It's like, it's for the bullet holes that probably are going to be everywhere.
Oh, well, this is more than enough to take care of that, but I thank you.
Barnak's going to go looking for the nearest bath.
Yeah, they'd have to draw one up, but on the main floor, they do have a bathing room, sort of a room that holds 3 copper tubs that are set out. It's got a slate floor. There's a large hearth there that's set up quite intricately with many kettles and pots of water that can be boiled, as well as cooler water. And she sends one of the serving girls to go in with you to get it sort of started and ready, so they know how to work it, and would get it eventually so that it is just a great temperature. And then they would sort of point out, like, here's a bucket of cold water, here's a bucket of hot water. As it cools down, adjust as needed.
And there he will stay until supper.
All right.
Get a little beard oil and start working on his new Ruby glory. That's right, we're a hipster in the 62-year-old hipster in the High March.
I use beard oil. I use beard oil every day.
And I judge you.
Hey, it's actually really helpful.
You
I
gotta keep
believe
it
you. I
soft.
believe
It is,
you.
yeah.
I've petted some magnificent beards, and I believe you.
He's got a beard wash and a beard oil.
Going all out.
Makes a difference.
So yeah, the next hour is just him going.
I did not need that visualization.
Yeah, it's like a few hours. You know, you can get a solid 3-4 hours in there before supper time.
Yeah, no, he's just gonna soak. This is his day.
Yep.
All right.
It's
Oh,
the
sorry.
equivalent of November 31st.
Yeah. Well, 30th. There's no.
30th, sorry.
Yeah.
But it's a fantasy world. November 30th.
No. I mean, literally, the months are
Yeah,
all
yes.
30 days.
Each month is 3 weeks. Okay.
Each month is 3 10-day weeks. It's nice and logical.
Oh yes, Wilby. If you would like to go check out the bridge, I will gladly go do that and distract myself for the rest of the evening.
Okay. Do you guys have anything in particular you want to check out in terms of the bridge?
I want to see if I recognize anything about it as far as connection to the Fey realms.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and you can give me an Arcana check. You know, there's lots of these barely visible but still there runic inscriptions.
Let's see, that's 18.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't.
So you go through some of them and decipher them. There is clearly this connection calling on Shadow. But as you go through the
Shadow,
runic inscriptions, it does appear, and you link it back with some of the stories that you've heard already in discussion, which was essentially that what he had tried to do was like essentially use a connection to another realm to like pull material through. And so the idea was to construct this bridge out of Shadow stuff. There's, other than sort of the vague overlap there's nothing directly reminiscent about the Fae or the court of Star and Shadow.
Would I know enough to be able to tell if this is a particularly good place for trying to get stuff between from the realm of Shadow to
Definitely, definitely with that Arcana check and what you already know. I mean, it's definitely geared so that it can open when it's enacted properly. You think that's a little bit of a side effect? It was not really a side effect. It's on purpose, but that's how it was constructed in the first place. And then that's just stayed there.
just stayed there.
Yeah,
Okay.
as a thing. But it does make it quite literally a natural bridge between worlds.
Okay, interesting. So I'll relay all this and what I'm figuring out.
Yeah, I'm wondering if, because when I looked at it, it required a specific ritual, and I'm just wondering how all of them got through.
So go ahead and make an Arcana check.
Oh,
While they're actually discussing this, I'm going to pull out a piece of wood and take one of my little wood carving tools and start carving on something, because this is well beyond me.
That
Yeah.
should stay with the cart this time. He was the last time he was there. He was like, "I got no idea what's going on."
18.
I'm just going to sit here and whittle.
How much was that again, Oyawe?
18.
18? Okay. So as you kind of ponder on it and look at everything, it's true that it could only open with this specific ritual from this side, but it is perhaps was able to be opened from the other side without it, or it's entirely possible that someone did do the ritual.
Super suspicious. Dragonborn is super suspicious.
But so those are the two options.
Yeah, it's either they're able to open it from their side without any worry, or and it was just a coincidence that it happened on the same day as the conjunction, or somebody actually performed the ritual.
I mean, the shadow was trapped there for 1,600 years, so
Yeah.
Logically, it's hard to say, but plenty of other creatures live in the shadow realm, and transit through, and basically the two easiest realms to access are the shadow realm and the fey realm.
Right. Would seem that perhaps he had help.
Yeah, but that help wasn't good enough, for else he would have talked about it. It seemed like he was very full of himself, so he seemed very confused at being here, even though he was happy about it.
This is true.
So if he had help, I don't think it was conscious. This is all very troubling to me.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Should we go have time, Stu?
Daichi, as you're staying with the wagon, a familiar guard pops his head in. It's Corvinus. And he looks over and looks around, sees that you're alone, and slips in and sort of closes the door of the wagon house behind him. You're alone?
Well, no, you're in here.
Less literally.
Yes.
We're the only two here.
That I can see.
All right. We're not going to be interrupted?
Shouldn't be.
Okay. He moves over. You proved yourself rather capable. And are you over here? You're headed to Surat?
That's the intention.
The network is concerned.
What are we concerned about? Me go down to Surat or something else?
No. One of the reasons why I'm here is to keep an eye on Argon. You may not... No. You may not be aware of it, but the network is concerned and has been suspicious since our formation that the merchant lords are responsible, directly or perhaps indirectly, but most likely directly, for the death of High King Oberon 10 years ago and the fall of nearly his entire house. And unbeknownst to most, except those of us in the network, he didn't die without an heir, as it is claimed, while his nephew inherited the house and the dukedom, but not the high kingship, through the votes of the merchant lords and the other ruling lords of the League. We've opted to keep the heir hidden, secret, because we fear that he would merely be murdered. And his destiny is bigger than just the League itself or the city of Surat.
Oh, man. That's a lot. You Southerners are kind of weird.
Well, you stumbled into this when you stumbled across an old man in a book.
That's true. That's true.
And he was one of our agents as you ascertained and recognized the symbols.
Does explain quite a bit.
So if you're headed to Surat, we have something for you to do.
Very well.
You may have heard that one of Argon's few allies among the other merchant lords in Surat is a Lord Cato.
I have not. I don't pay attention to politics.
Well, now you know. We're always looking for a way in to uncover more of the schemes and machinations of the merchant lords. And you appear to have a bit of a connection to Argon. And we think that could be leveraged.
I'm already suspicious about him. It seems like he's got a hand in something with the Theirs coming through here.
That, unfortunately, is not unusual among any of the merchant lords. Their interests and mercantile pursuits are wide-ranging, and as long as they accumulate more wealth and power, that's all they care about. As for the Theirs who came through here, only 3 of them continued south.
Where are the rest of them?
The rest of them were deemed to have been guilty and owe a debt to Argon and his interests for their activities. From what I heard, raiding some mine, I believe. And so they are currently working off their debt.
So they were captured fairly. All right.
But three of them were deemed to be a little bit more valuable. And he sold his share in their debt to another merchant lord in Surat, who intends to place them in the upcoming newly built gladiatorial arena. Now, of course, this means they could work off their debt much quicker, potentially, or they could perish.
That is theirs. They were caught. If they were caught for raiding, that is their burden.
Nevertheless, because you had mentioned it, I thought it only fair that I would share the information that I have.
That makes it a little bit easier. I was worried that they were taken unjustly.
Well, my interests lie elsewhere, and while I do not think that the merchant lords and the laws they operate under are entirely just, nevertheless, they are still the law.
That's true. But we can get back to the other thing you were talking about. What is it that you need me to do?
Well, you could leverage Argon's name to gain the confidence of this Cato. Perhaps see what information you can find. Perhaps work for him to uncover more information, and of course pass it on.
Is there anything specific we're looking for?
Specifically, we're interested to know who, if any, among the merchant lords may have been responsible for the death, or rather the murder, of the High King, the former High King, and what their relationship is with the current Grand Duke, whether it's the whole of the Merchant Lords Council. Of course, all of this is much more than we would expect one agent, but any information you can find will be helpful.
See what I can do. See what I can find. I don't know if that's going to be something that easy to find, though, given not something that usually comes up in conversation.
No, but we have found that when agents enter, or when people such as yourself enter the employ of the rich and powerful individuals, some things just have a habit of slipping out.
I'll keep an ear out.
That's all I ask. And of course, the aid of our network will be available to you in Surat.
It'd be nice to have a friendly face. Maybe you can help me find the owner of that book. I'm looking for his kid.
Yes. Ask for Jorman.
Jorman.
Jorman the gunsmith. People will know who you're looking for. He's made quite a name for himself.
Sounds like he followed after his dad after all.
Indeed, he's young, but already a number of innovations.
Appreciate that.
All right.
And you probably know.
He reaches out his hand, to shake.
She does the forearm clasp.
He's like startled a little bit at first, but sort of accepts it. And then he sort of, nods and walks away. All right. And then he walks away. So the rest of you, I'm assuming, gather. Lamb stew is had.
Yes.
It is delicious. It is mini spiced. It is hot and spicy and delicious. Full. It's practically teeming with meat. It is probably 60 or 70% lamb.
It's spicy.
It's spicy.
I like this.
Ha!
It's served in a bread bowl.
Not feeling well.
It isn't necessarily originally, but given how much Ava has heard about bread bowls, she opts to try it. And she knows that like some of the cart vendors do this with day-old bread, and she serves it to you in bread bowls.
The trend, guys, were hip.
This has been the best eating day ever. We had a huge breakfast. We had cake. We had
So not only is the Dragonborn's tongue burning because she's not used to spicy things, but because dragon and bowl and oh gosh, it's just like not working.
Well, you usually can.
This is so amazing.
There's a spoon there, and
Oh, I know.
Just for this.
I know.
You keep a spoon on yourself specifically made for dragonborn mouths.
But she's also just had a rough day and is just I'm done with this.
but it is also like 60 to 70% like chunks of meat, so
Well, that makes her happy then.
that's much easier for the dragonborn.
But she's definitely not used to spicy food.
We'll build up your tolerance over time. That's how it would have worked for me.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Down's a water skin.
Some days when we were out on long campaigns or just
I'm enjoying this.
patrolling the borders, we would test each other. We would take peppers, hottest peppers we could grow. We had people who grew peppers just to keep the food tasty. And we would sit there and we would just eat them while staring at each other. And the first to blink, the first to reach for anything to drink was the loser. And they had to spend the night naked in a tree.
You're crazy.
Had to entertain yourselves sometimes. It wasn't all.
After we got finished eating and everything like that, I kind of show everybody the partial duck that I've got finished carving. Looks like a duck decoy. I'll work on this for the rest of the time.
Duck decoy.
So,
Very nice.
So is Zyrus the duck commander?
yes. I'll continue to grow my beard even more.
Yeah. Again,
Wearing a little bandana.
Again, hashtag not
Oh.
sponsored. And in this case, hashtag no way in hell would we ever want to be sponsored.
I'll be wearing a bandana. I'll wear a bandana for next stream. So
That was a slap to the face right there. Oh boy. They're not on air anymore. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
While we're eating, though, I'm just going to kind of nudge Farnak and kind of mutter to him what he had talked about with the other guy.
That's what that was about.
Corvius.
Yeah.
I believe his name's Corvius. I
Yep.
wrote it down.
Yeah, I thought you and him had some sort of connection going on.
I mean, I don't know.
Venus.
The eyes you were making at him seemed very suggestive.
Why do you think it took so long for me to get out of that barn?
I'm not the one to judge.
Dan's thinking the same thing. Dan's thinking bromance.
He's a pretty good looking man.
It's not uncommon. I just didn't know it was in the theaters.
That's something to think about.
Daichi, you would know it's pretty well accepted among the Theers.
Yeah, it's pretty open.
And Farnak is oblivious to what the Theers actually believe, so it's all good.
The Theers are a pretty free-loving sort.
Yeah.
You love all walks of life.
Yes, we used to make jokes about you and the animals you kept.
That's a line you don't cross.
Yeah, animals are incapable of consent. Come on, the Theers know this. They're not barbarians. God.
When you grow up in a place that's constantly at battle, insults get thrown around. Met one guy claimed that the Theus like to go into the mountains and what would be the best way to say it? Have romance with a yarn scrim.
I don't know what a yarn scrim is, but I don't like where that went.
You do actually, Daichi.
Okay.
So the yarn scrim are the creatures in the far north that you hunt to get the iron that they eat the iron sand and yeah.
Yep. That's that's something I should definitely know.
They're very important in your culture.
Yeah, they are. We don't. That's.
I'm not. I'm only repeating what I heard.
Oh boy.
That's not what happens.
I believe you. Sounds very uncomfortable.
You have no idea.
Sun is getting low, and if we are going to head into the road tomorrow, perhaps we will catch up with the wagon.
I'm not too worried about catching up with the wagon, actually.
No? Change your mind.
They were caught raiding. It's just, you get caught in battle, you work off your debt. That's just how it goes.
And then perhaps we will not run into them. Perhaps we will catch up to the caravan we started with.
It'd be nice.
We can pick a little bit of a more brisk pace. I am going to bed. This has been too good of a day. I cannot stay awake another minute to wait for anything to come along and ruin it.
That's actually a pretty good idea.
I will do my best not to ruin your sleep tonight.
Farnak's going to just go find a room and, for the first time in a long time, sleep out of his armor, leave it just hanging up, and just take a good sleep.
All right.
Bed is calling my name.
All right. So everyone makes their way to a very pleasant sleep, and that is a good place for us to end for the night. All right. Well, thanks everyone who stuck around. Thanks for watching and listening and all of that. And yes, we will be back actually next week on stream for one of our Tales from the High March one-shots. We've got a fantastic group together. If you follow myself on Twitter or any of us here, you'll see us talking about it and advertising it. But we'll be here a little bit of a later start time than usual. We'll be starting at 8 p.m. Eastern as opposed to 7 p.m. Eastern, just to accommodate life and schedules and all that sort of thing. But we will have what should be a wonderful one-shot set among the Fae courts. So if you're interested on the Fae courts and the intrigue they get up to, check us out. Definitely here tonight. Both Matt and Max will be joining us. And it should promise to be entertaining, full of weird elves and goblins and all kinds of craziness.
A little bit of tieflings involved in this one also.
Some tieflings, yeah, all kinds of weirdos and wackos. All right. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Good night, y'all.
Right.
Right.